Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys of Magic. This is Hunter and Shane. Say what up, Shane.
What up, nerds?
We are back. This time we are doing Shane's $300 upgrade to Exit from Exile. Before we move on, I just want to remind everybody to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, so you can see more content like this in the future. So quickly, let the people know what the commander you are using and kind of what the deck does.
Got it. For this one, we're still going to be using the same face commander that we used previously in the 100. That's the Faldorn Dread Wolf Herald. She's 3 for a 3/3 human druid, and she basically just cares a lot about casting spells out of exile. So whenever you cast a spell out of exile, or play a land out of exile, you create a 2/2 green wolf token. And you can pay 1, tap her, discard a card, exile top card of your library. You may play it this turn. So she has an ability, she has a way to trigger her ability. That's what you'd like to see.
Perfect. Sounds like an easy commander.
Yeah.
But also a fun commander.
It's definitely different. Not, like I was saying in the first video we made, it's not just like play cards and win. It's kind of like, oh, I gotta put cards in this deck that literally just care about playing from exile. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, this is not normally the strategy you do, right?
It is not at all. There's no blue. There's no counters in this deck. It sucks.
You are our blue player.
Yep. But I'll do my best.
Okay. So let's jump straight into it. What are you adding to make this deck even better?
Well, before I get to the what's making it better, we gotta just kind of nod our heads to the 100, because this is gonna be literally a take the 100 list I made and then add on to that to make it into the 300. So we're gonna see all the usual suspects from that previous video. We're gonna put it all on screen currently right here. A lot of these cards, you'll see that they just care about exiling your cards out of your library, then letting you play them, or exiling cards out of your opponent's library, letting you play them. Basically just a lot of things to turn on that engine.
Yeah, and you can see all of the additions that he did here with the $100 upgrade. If you go down in the description down below, you can also click the video that we made going in depth on why he took all of them out. Alrighty. So, let's go through the new toys. What are we adding to make it even better because you've gotten a bigger budget?
Yes, this is true. And, I want to just shout out the people leaving comments. We'd love to see them, and I don't want them to think that we ignored them. And that being said, we saw these amazing cards that I could have been using, but it was the budget deck, and unfortunately there was a restriction. And now that we have no restriction, I'm free to kind of go crazy with this. And the first couple of 3 that I threw in there were Chandra, Torch of Defiance, Majorite Stone, and Grenzo Havoc Razor. These are all really awesome cards. They didn't, unfortunately, make it into the cut for the 100, but they all fit perfectly into this deck. So Chandra Torch of Defiance is 2 and a red for a Planeswalker. Starts with 4 loyalty. She's got 2 pluses. And her first plus is exile top card of your library. You may cast that card. If you don't, she does 2 damage to each opponent. So that's cool. Lets you turn on that exile and then playing things from exile. Her other plus is just add 2 red to your mana pool. That could be important. Her -3 is she deals 4 damage to target creature. A little bit of spot removal on her. And then her -7, her ult. You get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell, this emblem deals 5 damage to target creature or player. So those 2 are pretty cool. They're more of just like damage dealy finishers. You're probably only really caring about hitting that plus every time you can, just to turn on your commander.
Absolutely. Seems like a really good card to put in the deck.
Yeah, man. And then Majorite Stone, it is an artifact for 2. And it just says, pay 1, tap it, untap target creature that has an activated ability with a tap in its cost. So here's a way to start untapping your commander and using her multiple times, or other creatures you have in the deck that have a tap effect. You can start paying to untap them and doing it again. Tons of shenanigans. And then Grenzo, this dude's pretty crazy. He's just a red for a 2/2 Goblin Rogue, and he says, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, choose 1. Go target creature that player controls, or exile a top card of that player's library. Until end of turn, you may cast that card, and you may spend mana as if it was any color to cast it. So you're either goading shit that your opponents have, or you're stealing stuff from them and then benefiting it because you have your commander out. Both are just really good modes.
I like these 3. Really good includes.
I really do too. And so the next couple things I want to talk about, and everyone knows, at least in our friend group, I can't stand combos of any variety. But I kind of felt like I needed to kind of tip my hat and do a little homage to some combos. So that's kind of what I did.
What are the combos we are adding into the deck?
Well, the first one that just made tons of sense to me because it's going to be able to make your commander pretty much go infinite, meaning you can have a bunch of wolves come in, but that's going to be dealing with food chain. A lot of people know, I'm sure, what food chain does, but it is 2 and a green for an enchantment that just says, remove a creature you control from the game, add X mana of any color to your mana pool, where X is the removed creature's converted mana cost, +1. That mana may be spent only to play creature spells. So that is a cool card, but then when you tack it on to another creature, say Squee the Immortal, it kind of does this little infinite interesting combo with the card. So basically, Squee says it's a 1 and a red for a 2/1, and it just says you may cast Squee the Immortal from your graveyard or from exile. So now when you're sacrificing Squee to food chain, you're going to net 4 mana, and then you can play Squee out of exile for 3, so you're going to always be netting 1 mana, and you'll be making a wolf every time you play Squee from exile, basically. It gets kind of nuts.
Yeah, the combination of these two is incredible.
Yeah. This is Eternal Scourge is pretty much the exact same thing. 3 mana for a 3/3 Eldrazi horror that just says you may cast it from exile again. And when it becomes a targeted spell or ability an opponent controls, exile it as well. But basically, again, sacrifice this to food chain, make 4 mana, net 1, cast it again, profit, and make infinite wolves.
Yeah. And we are talking about food chain after it was announced for Double Masters 2022, which makes food chain affordable.
Pick it up while you can, man. And then so I wanted to add one more thing in there just to kind of spend the mana that we're going to be netting forever. So it's one thing to make a bunch of wolves, which is awesome. But then let's say you have another card in your hand, like, say, Walking Ballista. It's just an XX construct, which is it's a 0/0 artifact creature. And it just says Walking Ballista enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counters on it. And then you can pay for, put a 1/1 counter on Walking Ballista, remove a 1/1 counter from Walking Ballista. It deals 1 damage to any target. So when you're making infinite mana with this food chain combo, and you're only allowed to cast spells or creature spells, Walking Ballista is a pretty good spell to be casting.
Yeah, that will kill everybody at the table.
Yeah. So again, this combo, it might look like it's almost a 3-piece combo, but let's be real, like this could just be a 2-piece combo. You just need food chain and one of those creatures, and you're just gonna still net 1 billion wolves. So even without Walking Ballista, that's an insane combo.
Yeah, really cool combos. I like it how it goes on theme with your commander as well. It's not just its own combo. But what else are we putting in the deck?
Well, we're gonna go off. We're gonna do another combo with the commander.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, this is gonna be a Shaya Soul of the Wild, and the combo with this card is pretty cool. It's 3 and a green for a star elemental, and it says that its power and toughness is equal to the number of lands you control. It also says non-token creatures you control are forests in addition to their other types. So now all of your creatures that aren't obviously your wolf tokens can become a land. And then when you pair that with something like Kyrian Ranger, which is just a 1 mana 1/1 elf ranger that says return a forest you control to its owner's hand, untap target creature, activate only once per turn. And when you have, let's say, 1,000-year elixir on the battlefield, it's a 3 mana artifact that says you may activate abilities of creatures you control as though that creature has haste, and you can pay 1, tap it to untap target creature. So all we have to really do to get this infinite mana is tapping Kyrian, and then tapping Ashaya, because they're both lands, and then you're going to return return a forest to your hand, which is going to be Kyrian, right? And then you're going to untap Ashaya. So this sounds like a really complicated thing, but once you do it like once, you basically just tell your friends, I'm doing this combo and I'm going to do this 1 billion times. But yeah, you're going to be tapping, untapping Ashaya, playing down your ranger again, which will be another land. It'll have haste, so you can do it again. And you just repeat that process over and over and over. Hopefully your friends won't make you do that painful process over and over.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
I hope not.
So
Oh,
those
sorry.
are a couple of combos. What? How are we getting them?
Yeah, I was trying to not like I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna do combos, but we're not gonna do tutors, right? We're just gonna naturally draw them. And then I got made fun of. So now we're doing tutors. So we're gonna grab a couple tutors here. We're gonna grab Green Sun Zenith, Worldly Tutor, Natural Order, and then the fun one because why not gamble? Green Sun Zenith is just an X and a green sorcery. Search your library for a green creature card with converted mana cost X or less. Put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. And I get to shuffle Green Sun Zenith into your library as well. So that'll just go up, grab you one of your green creatures. Easy way to get that. Worldly Tutor is just a 1 green for an instant. Search your library for a creature card, reveal it, shuffle your library, then put it on top of your library. So now you're gonna draw it. Natural Order, 2 and a green for sorcery. As an additional cost to cast Natural Order, sacrifice a green creature. Luckily, all your wolves that you're making are green. Boom, easy to sacrifice. Search your library for a green creature card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. And then good old gamble. 1 red, sorcery. Search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, discard a card at random, then shuffle your library. So, you know, we're gambling on that one, but we're gonna hope that we don't discard Food Chain.
What you got to do is got to make sure your hand is kind of stacked, so there's that higher chance of it not going away.
So you want gamble in your opening hand, turn 1 gamble, grab Food Chain, pray to the gods that you don't discard it.
And finally, are we adding any lands?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of smooth it out just a bit more. With the bigger budget, we're able to get a little fancy and splurge on some nicer lands again. So we're going to grab Karplusan Forest, Firelit Thicket, and Grove of the Burn Willow. They all just tap for a red or a green, and they don't come in tapped, which is what I want to focus on.
Yeah, absolutely. I see that. I like those additions, man. Is that it?
I like them. Yeah, I like them. Yep. That's well, keep all the other creatures that we added from the 100 that are going to be activating. There are a lot more that activate the Exile. These were just kind of like a little bit of the icing on the cake.
Yeah, I get it, dude. Sometimes you just gotta finish up that cake to make it look even more pretty. And I think you've done it here.
There you go.
But now we have to say goodbye.
Yep.
What?
Let's just get it over with.
What are we removing from the deck?
We're removing cards that I just don't like. I'm just kidding. First, we got to talk about the 100 list again. So if you have not seen that video, please go back and check it out. But all those cuts from the 100 list will still be cut in this list. So we'll flash them up on screen now. Those will just be cards again that didn't either fit the theme or weren't as on flavor or weren't just as strong. It's cards that I didn't think were as strong as the cards that I added. So got them out of there.
All right. So what are we taking out to make room for the new cards that you added from the 300?
Well, that's a great question there, buddy. The first group that we're going to be getting rid of is Beanstalk Giant, Greater Gargadon, and Bone Crusher Giant. These are all good cards that deal with one way or another casting from the Exile, but they just, weren't as strong. Like Beanstalk Giant, you can do its adventure cost to go search for a land. So that's going to be good in the beginning. And then when you play it for an ungodly amount, 7, it'll become a Star, which is it'll be as big as the number of lands you control. It's a cool card. It just wasn't that great. We have tons of freaking mana tutoring in this deck anyways. Like, there are so many ways to search up land in this deck. It's ridiculous. So I didn't think getting rid of this would be... Like, you won't be shedding a tear, I don't think. Greater Gargadon is just a behemoth. It's got to spend 10 for a 1 red, or you can only pay 10. It's a 9/7. And it says you can sacrifice an artifact, a creature, or a land. Remove a time counter from Greater Gargadon. Activate only if it's suspended. So if you pay the 1, then you can start sacrificing shit and getting rid of time counters. I mean, it's cool, but when it comes in, it's just a big fatty. And, as David would say, it gets blocked by a 1/1. If there was some kind of trample on this, that would probably be way better, but I don't know. It didn't seem that good. And the Bone Crusher Giant, this is a great card, don't get me wrong. It was a menace in Standard. but the whole 2 damage to any like target, that's not as relevant in EDH, I don't think. Most creatures are much bigger than 2. And again, you can then play it from exile after you play its adventure cost, and then you get that wolf from it the one time. And I mean, it's a cool card, but I didn't think it was as strong in EDH in my opinion.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that strong in EDH.
Yes, sir. The next group we're going to be kicking out of here: Battle Mammoth, Nature's Lore, and Arasta, the Endless Web. Battle Mammoth is 3 for a green. It's just an elephant creature. It's a big butt, 6/5. It's got trample. Permanents you control become target of spells or abilities. You get to draw a card. So that's kind of cool. It's got I think it's in here because of the foretell cost. So it's going to be kind of like the whole play from exile. I mean, not a bad card, just not as strong as some of the stuff we added already. And then same with Nature's Lore. That I mentioned earlier that there's just tons of ways to search up land. Like, I'm not even kidding. In this Precon, there are so many ways to find land. And I get that this deck might be a little land hungry, but I don't think we needed so many of them. So I just cut one of them. Just one. We're still going to have plenty of land, I promise. We're cutting the one way to search for a forest. And then this Endless Spider Woman person. It is 3/5 with reach. And whenever your opponents cast a sorcery or instant, you create a 1/2 spider with reach. And that seems cool. It doesn't really care at all about playing from exile. So basically it just helps you gum up the board a little bit. Just didn't like it as much, honestly.
Yeah, the cuts make sense.
Yeah.
What else are we cutting?
We just gotta make room, unfortunately. I hate cutting cards. Here we're cutting. Now Feshni, Dream Pillager, and Warstorm Surge. They're all pretty expensive and they all do relevant things, but they just didn't make the cut, unfortunately, for me. I wanted to put more powerful cards in, so we're cutting these bad boys out. Now Feshni is a flyer, and it says whenever you cast a spell out of exile, copy it. You may choose new targets for its copy. If it's a permanent spell, it gains haste, but you have to sacrifice it at the end of your end step. That's cool. It's pretty expensive though, unfortunately, and I think I put in better cards. Dream Pillager again is a flyer. When it deals combat damage to a player, exile that many cards from the top of that player's library. Until end of turn, you may cast them. That's cool. It does what you want. Unfortunately, it's just on the high end, and I put in better cards. I'm going to keep saying that. Warstorm Surge is an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. That seems like a cool ability, but for the most part, if we're caring about our wolves that are coming into the play, it's only 2. So it's not a bunch of damage. I mean, it could be a lot if you happen to have one of those combos out, but it's a super expensive enchantment, so we're cutting it. The next group of 3 that we're getting out of there, Search for Tomorrow, Doran the Yawning Portal, weird card, and Passionate Archaeologist. Search for Tomorrow, you just search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, and it has a suspend cost. I think that's why it's in the deck. It cares about suspend. But like I said, there are so many ways to get land onto the battlefield in this deck. Like cutting a couple of them, I don't think you'll cry. You won't freak out. Durnan the Yawning Portal, it's a human, it's a warrior. Whenever this guy attacks, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may exile a creature card from among them. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. For as long as that card remains in exile, you may cast it. That spell has Undaunted. That means it costs 1 less for each opponent. So it'll probably always cost 3 less. That seems like a cool card, but got him out of there. Passionate Archaeologist, it is a background, and it says, your commander has, whenever you cast a spell from exile, that creature deals damage equal to the spell to an opponent. That's cool, but I don't like backgrounds.
Yeah, backgrounds aren't too powerful in my opinion either.
Nah.
Especially when your commander's gone, this just sits there as a dead card.
Dead card, dude. And then the last, but certainly not least, little bit, we're getting rid of Bloodbraid Elf, and we're getting rid of Izzet Chemister. Bloodbraid Elf has Cascade. That's why it's in the deck. And Izzet Chemister is a very slow way to cast things for free, letting you exile things out of your graveyard and then sacrificing him and casting things without paying a mana cost, but you're telegraphing it from a mile away. So if someone sees that you're going to do that, they can just try to get rid of it before you have enough mana to spend to activate his ability. There are ways to kind of get screwed on that. So we're cutting those.
Yeah, that makes sense. And also, to wrap things up, we did add some more lands. What are we taking out?
We added those 3 lands that I liked better than these 3 lands. So we're going to get rid of Gruul Turf, Temple of the Abandoned, and Highland Forest. They're all just things that come in, and they come in tapped, and I don't like things that come in tapped, so we cut them.
Yeah, they're not the best lands, but I see why you cut them. It makes sense. The other lands are better.
Thank you.
But is that
that's it, dude? That's it.
All right, so let me ask you the question that we always ask. I gave you $300 to upgrade the deck. What is your total?
Well, I got really close. Super duper close. But it is $292.
Wow, that's very good. I think this deck is going to be really good, and I can't wait to play against it.
Yeah, I'm gonna play with it tonight, dude, and we're gonna see how good it actually is, how good I actually am.
Spoilers, we might even record it. What?
What? On the channel? What?
But yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Do you have anything to say before we wrap things up, Shane?
I had a lot of fun with this deck, and I can't wait to play it.
All right, well said. That is going to be it, though. Don't forget to check the description for the link to the Moxfield account that we have, where you will find this entire deck list if you want to try it out yourself. Also, while you're down in the description, hit that like button if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to the channel already. Don't forget to follow us on our Instagram and Twitter. That is @GuysAtMagic to follow up to date with everything that we do. And until the next video, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Bye.